So some insanity here for you from New York City. Comptroller Stringer. He has a report here about the cost of incarceration per person in New York City, and it's at an all-time high. So the annual cost of incarceration grew to $556,539 per person per year. Adds up to about $1,500 a day. The full annual cost per person nearly quadrupled from fiscal year 2011 to fiscal year 2021. So let's dig in here. They have a couple of great graphs in this report. So the total annual and daily cost per incarcerated person, including costs funded outside the Department of Corrections budget. So the yellow is going to represent the money going directly towards actually jailing that person and those costs associated. And the blue along the graph is going to be the additional costs associated when it comes to medical procedures for inmates, overtime for corrections officers, etc. So the cost just 10 years ago was under $400 per person per year. We're now up to $1,525 per day. It used to be $395 a day. It's now $1,525 a day to incarcerate one person in New York City. Absolutely insane. We're spending $500,000 a year to incarcerate people. Just one. And some interesting facts here as well. The jail population has been falling. Let me read here. The average daily jail population fell by 61% from almost 13,000 in 2011 to just under 5,000 in 2021. The pandemic contributed to a temporary drop in the jail population at the end of 2020 as non-essential activity ground to a halt, and the city and state officials endeavored to reduce the population amid the threat of COVID-19. Amid the reopening of the economy, as well as the pandemic-related interruptions to court proceedings, the jail population steadily rose for most of 2021. More recently, the jail population briefly exceeded 6,000 in late August and early September before declining modestly to about 5,500 at the end of October. So, we're looking at a falling jail population even before the pandemic. The population of the jails were steadily falling, yet it looks like the budget ballooned to its peak so far in 2018, but it's still over $1.2 billion a year. And the jail population is less than 5,000 people. So we're spending a tremendous amount of money on jailing people, and the budget either grows or stays about the same no matter how many people are jailed. It's insane. Absolutely insane. And just to lean more credence onto that, like we're pumping jobs that are so unneeded, and then the rest of the economy is like in shambles, but we're going to keep paying corrections officers that we don't need. So here we go. Corrections officers to incarcerated individuals ratio. Right now, there's almost like a 2-to-1 ratio of corrections officers to inmates. After a headcount expansion in 2016 and 2017, the number of uniformed personnel employed by the DOC has fallen steadily, dropping to 8,338 by the end of 2021. Compared to 2011, the number of corrections officers has declined by 1%. Because the jail population fell faster than the decline in staffing, the ratio of guards to the average jail population has risen. So it's like slightly misleading, right? They are reducing the number of officers, but the number of incarcerated people fell way faster than the number of officers that they had. I mean, I don't want to fire people. I don't want people to be without work or without a job. But is this where we want to be as a country? We're literally the biggest penal colony in the world. We jail more people than China. We're an extremely authoritative society, and we act like we're this very liberal democracy, and it's a joke. Our entire economy revolves around blowing shit up around the world and building the bombs to do it, and incarcerating people and using those people to do slave labor, as well as the exploitation of every other country on the planet. Our entire economy is either war or jail. And obviously, jail has... No one is getting rehabilitated in jail. Not in America, at least. I mean, if you look at some European countries, they have very low recidivism. I'm not going to be able to say that word. They have a low incidence of people committing crimes once they've exited jail, right? Their jails are much cleaner, much nicer. They aren't a university where criminals come together and learn traits from each other / are treated like animals and, beat and rape and murder each other. It's a little different in other countries. I just think it's insane that we're spending, $500,000 per person per year here in New York City to incarcerate people. Imagine we were using that money to, help combat the endless stream of homeless people you see around here. As soon as you get off the subway and you walk all over the subway, first of all, is homeless people. Always. You walk around any busy subway station, there's homeless people everywhere, suffering, panhandling, people sleeping in the trains for warmth. I mean, you go into any of the nice neighborhoods in the city, you go to Columbus Circle, the Billionaires Row area, Central Park South, and in front of these, multi-billion-dollar glass high-rises, there will be someone sitting on a cardboard box in clothes that have probably not been washed in years, begging for some money, for some food or some whatever they want to do with it, whatever. And that's not bad enough. Then the city, the government, which is charged with, trying to help people, that's the whole point of it. They're willing to spend $500,000 on that guy if he's a criminal to lock him up for the rest of the year, but they would never spend $500,000 to, make sure that guy isn't homeless. And by the way, it wouldn't even cost anywhere near $500,000 to make sure that guy wasn't homeless for the year. I'll tell you that much. Rent is really high in New York, but you can get away without paying $500,000 in rent for a person. Our priorities are completely backwards in this country. We are run by thieves and criminals, and the entire security state, all of our police, they're not there to keep us safe. They're not there to help us. They're not there to protect and serve. They are there to protect the interests of the oligarchy. They are there to protect property. The police themselves might not even know or believe that, but that is their true function in this society. It is a buffer between the working class and the manager class / ownership class. That's all it is. We really need to change our priorities here.